video, I'll show you how to install eyelets and loops for the back of your corsets or tops. I'll be marking on the wrong side of the fabric. To do this, I need to first fold out the zipper allowance, since we will not need zipper allowance for this project. So I'm folding it away. Then I'll now measure about 3 inches or 2.5. So this depends on how wide you want the closure to be. Okay, so if you want it to be very wide, you can consider the size you want it. So I'm going with 2.5 inches. Now I'll mark this 2.5 inches at the top because I want it to look like a V shape at the back. So once I mark this 2.5 inches, then on this point I'm going to mark 1 inch. So that's how the closure is going to look like. So I'll just connect this point with my ruler. Then I will cut this out. After cutting this out to form the V shape at the back, we'll now cut some straight pieces of fabric. So the width of this is 1.5 inches, and I've cut it in continuous length. On another one, which is also 1.5 inches width, I've ironed on my fusible interfacing. Okay, so I'm using this because I have not lined this top. But if you're doing a top that has a lining at the back piece, you wouldn't need to cut this one out. You will just use the lining piece of the fabric to turn up this point. Okay, so I'm just using this because I have not lined it. So now, since it's a single piece, I'll now use this to line this point. But before then, I'll have to sew this one. I'll hold it like so and sew it on this point. Okay, after sewing it, I'll turn it inside out. Once you've turned it inside out, you have something that looks like this. Okay, so this is what we're going to use to form our loops. There are 2 ways you can make these loops. You either run them as a continuous length on this point, like so. Until you get down there, or you cut them into smaller pieces of 2 inches and place them on this point. Okay, so either way you will still achieve the same thing. So but we'll be cutting them into smaller pieces. That's we'll be cutting them into 2-inch pieces. After cutting out all the 2-inch pieces, we'll now mark on our pattern. We'll mark 1.5 inch space. Okay, so we're going to mark 1.5 across the entire length of this pattern. This will be the distance between each of these loops. So once you've marked that across, you need to place these loops on that point and pin it up. Once you've pinned it across this back, you will now place the piece you attached the interfacing on. Just place it on it like so and turn it that way. You're going to sew on the edge. to this point as well. Then you fold it in. So we're going to attach this on this point. You fold it in at this point and sew on the edge down to the hem. Just to turn this side, fold it in and do a top stitch on the edge. So you're going to top stitch at this point. And that will be it. Then once you've done this, you need to do the same thing on the other side. Next, we'll install our eyelets. So I have two parts of my back panel, my tape and marker. So I'll be using a hammer. Someone will be wondering, what has hammer got to do with sewing? Yes, we need it. We use practically all tools you can imagine. So this is my owl. I also use it, and I'll be using this pack of eyelets. I got this online. I think it's Hemline products, and I've tried it and it's really very good. You can also use the plier to install this if you have one, but I'll be using this hammer. You don't really need to hit it hard, just a little touch on it and get it fixed. It's actually something that a soft plastic hammer can do. Okay, it's just to apply a little pressure on it. So first I'll mark out my 1.5 inches distance on my fabric. If you would like something longer than that, you cannot just apply it, but I'm going with 1.5. So I've dotted out 1.5 inches across the length of this fabric. So I'll just mirror it on the other one. I'll make sure it mirrors each other on the other side. And that's where I will be installing my eyelets. So I'll use my awl to make some holes on this fabric. If you have the eyelet plier, it actually has a part where you can use to punch your holes on the plier. But since I don't have that, I'm making do with the eyelet, and it works perfectly well. You can also use scissors to make these holes. So I'm just making the holes on the points I marked 1.5 inches. Now I'm done making the holes, so I will have to install my eyelets now. In the pack of the eyelets, there is this tool that came with it. It's for installing it, and the eyelet comes in two forms. Okay, so there's one piece with the long, sharp tip, like so, and there's another one that is just flat. Then this flat one has a rough part and a smooth part. Okay, so the smooth one will be up while the rough one will be placed on the sharp one. Okay, that's the pointed one. Okay, so see what I'm doing now. Just pass it through this hole. So you need to pass the long one through this hole. and bring it out on the other side like so. Okay, so this is it. Then you place the flat one on it like so. Ensure the rough part, this rough part is placed facing in, while the smooth part will face out. Or rather, should I say the part with hollow? There's a part that is a bit deep. Okay, so it will face in while the other part faces out. Then this tool here, this one actually comes out from it. So this one will be brought out from the middle tool.